do you need to stop seeking closure from your ex? First, I want you to know that it is absolutely normal to want closure after a breakup, especially if the other person broke up with you and maybe didn't give you a good enough reason in your mind as to why they did it. For anybody that's ever been blindsided by a breakup, then you probably understand what this feels like. We always want to know if there's something that we did wrong that maybe we could have fixed, or what the reason is for them not wanting to be in a relationship with us anymore. Sometimes they do give us a reason, but it seems really vague and it doesn't make a lot of sense. Like if someone says, I just feel like we are going in different directions, it can feel like a huge blow. But it's completely normal to want to understand the reason and to have that closure. But the mistake that I see a lot of people make, and one that I've made myself as well, is that we think that by talking to this person and continuing to ask questions about it, that we are going to get that closure. And sometimes, if we're being completely honest, some of us lie to ourselves and say that we need closure when really we just want to stay in communication with that person. And I'm just keeping it real because a lot of times we go through breakups and we make these excuses because we just don't want that person to leave. We don't want them to remove themselves out of our life, even though that's what they're choosing to do. And yes, it hurts, and yes, it's painful, but the most important thing that you can do while you're going through a breakup is to maintain your dignity, because as we know, our emotions are extremely heightened after a breakup, and sometimes we do wild things. Even someone that is completely rational can do some crazy stuff when their heart is broken. It happens. I see it all the time. But when it comes to actually getting closure, it's something that you are likely not going to be able to get from this other person. I would say 9 times out of 10, it doesn't work that way. I think when it comes to us wanting closure, it's really us just wanting that peace and being able to accept the situation and to move on from it. So first, I would think about why it is that you want closure, and you have to be honest with yourself. That is a really hard thing to do when you're super emotional, but you have to try to think about the situation objectively as opposed to subjectively. So if you were someone else on the outside looking in, what would you think about the situation? Would you think that you are looking for closure just because you want to stay in contact with this person? Or are you looking for closure because you want that peace and you want to be able to move on and really be at peace with the situation as it is? So if you are looking for closure so that you can move on, I promise you it's highly unlikely that you're going to get it from the person that broke up with you. And this is why. If you're upset and you're hurt and you're highly emotional, there's likely nothing that this person can say to you to make you say, okay, I understand. That makes sense. Thank you for explaining it to me. It's just, it doesn't work like that. You're going to feel hurt, and you might even feel offended for whatever it is that they may say, whatever reason that they may give you. If they broke up with you and it was something that you weren't anticipating, something that completely caught you off guard, unless you just have like a really chill personality, or maybe you weren't invested in the relationship to begin with, then you would be more likely to say, okay, I understand, that makes sense. But when you are really into somebody, when you really care about somebody, especially if you've been with somebody for a really long time and then they just kind of pull the rug out from under you, it's just really unlikely that whatever reason they give you, whatever it is they say to you, is going to give you that peace that you're looking for. Now, it's very possible to have a conversation with someone and they say, these were the things that I didn't like about our relationship, or these are some things, some ways that you behaved that I didn't really appreciate. And you can take those things and improve on them and become better for your next relationship, but those conversations are very rarely, productive, at least initially. If you're upset or mad or frustrated, it's going to be really hard to have a productive conversation. So instead of seeking closure from the other person or your ex-partner, Sometimes we just have to look within ourselves and accept the ambiguity of things. And it sucks. It's not easy. It's really hard. But I think that a lot of times in life, we have to accept things that we don't understand. Losing a relationship or someone that you love uh, can be a lot like losing someone to death, to them passing away. And the interesting thing and a difficult part of that is that when someone passes away, it's one of those things that we have to sometimes accept what we don't understand. But in this case, that person is still here, and we have the ability to ask questions and to pursue getting answers. But it's not always helpful, and we're typically not going to get the answers that we're looking for. A lot of that just comes from accepting what we can't control and accepting what is. And nobody likes to feel that they've lost control. That's a terrible feeling. But at the same time, it's also really freeing when you understand that you can't always have control over every situation, and it's okay. So we have to shift our focus to the things that we can control, and that is ourselves and our reactions to certain things, how we deal with things. When you stop trying to fight everything that is not within your control, then that's when you get that peace. It's not always easy, and it's not something that comes naturally to a lot of us. But once you continually practice making peace with what is, then it gets a little bit easier, and you're able to do that in more situations throughout your life. I was always really envious of people that are just like those go with the flow people. And we all know them, the people that nothing seems to rattle them. They just kind of, it is what it is, and that's what it is. And it's not caring about things, but it's just having this constant flow of peacefulness. And I think a lot of us are drawn to these people because we're like, how do you how do you do that? But I think it's a matter of picking your battles wisely and consciously choosing to not letting yourself fight for things that are destroying your inner peace. So rather than trying to push for closure from someone who has broken up with you, you have to shift the focus internally to what you can control and focus on your mental, emotional health. And some of us don't even know where to start when it comes to our mental and emotional health. And this may be the first really hard situation that you've had to deal with emotionally. But I think talking to people like a therapist or trusted family and friends is really helpful. And the thing is, we all have so many varying experiences, and sometimes being able to talk to someone who has also been in a similar situation as you is really helpful, and they can give you perspective. So I would say the answer in a time like this is not necessarily to seek closure, but to create your own closure. If you're currently going through a difficult breakup and you need some help, I made a list of books, a free reading guide for you with some books that really helped me when I was going through this time, and the link to that is in the description of this video. Make sure that you subscribe and you hit the notification bell so that you don't miss any new videos that come out. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.